In the Footsteps of Marie Curie is a game for 2 to 4 players. You play as young scientists collaborating with Marie Curie. Your goals include discovering radium, conducting experiments, improving your laboratory, writing theses, and winning Nobel Prizes. Setup. Place the main board at the center of the table. Set the timeline marker on the leftmost space. Position the cube tower to the left of the main board, cube drop facing away. Sort cubes by color and place them to the right of the main board. Shuffle the activity cards into a face-down deck on the left of the main board. Reveal the first 4 cards. Sort the 24 experiment tiles by type into 2 piles. Sort the 16 thesis tiles by type into 4 face-down piles. Choose the workshop tile for the respective number of players and place it in the center. Set the workshop marker on the starting space at the bottom left. Place the Marie Curie tile and a supply of victory point tokens next to the main board. Each player gets a personal board and a random objective tile. The last person to conduct a scientific experiment is the first player and gets the first player token. If no one has, determine it randomly. Gameplay. The timeline track on the main board represents the major milestones in Marie Curie's life, from her birth in 1867 to her death in 1934. Each space contains the date of the event and the effect of the space. Certain game effects, indicated by the timeline icon, will advance the timeline marker forward by 1 space. All players then immediately apply the effect of the space, if they can and want to, starting with the player whose turn it is, and then in turn clockwise. The timeline effects and all of the cards and tokens are explained in the appendix page. Each player's turn consists of 4 steps which have to be done in order. Workshop. Take from the supply the cubes shown by the workshop marker. Throw them into the cube tower and see which cubes come out at the bottom. The cube tower is designed so that some cubes you will stay stuck in the tower and may fall in subsequent players' turn. Research. You can perform one of 2 actions. Either collect resources or write a thesis. To collect resources, you take resource cubes of your choice from the available ones in front of the tower. The remaining ones are left available for the next turns. Then you place them in the Erlenmeyer flask on your personal board. The maximum number of cubes you can take is limited to 3, but this limit may increase up to 6 cubes later in the game. Instead of taking cubes, you can write a thesis. Draw a thesis card from one of the piles, but keep in mind that this must be done in order. First, draw a thesis 1 card, then thesis 2, and so on. You can only write 1 thesis of each type during the game. Reveal the bonus of the thesis card and perform the action immediately. Then place the card face down on your player board. Experimentation. You can perform the following actions in the order of your choice. These actions are optional. Purchase an activity card. Once per turn, you can purchase one of the 4 activity cards available on the main board. Pay the cost indicated in the top left corner of the card and place it in your personal board in the column corresponding to the card's category. Perform the card's bonus immediately. That depends on the number of cards you have of that category, including the one you have just taken. You cannot have more cards of the same category than the maximum indicated on the card. A new activity card is drawn from the deck. Transform resources. You can perform the resource transformations indicated on your personal board as many times as you wish. To do this, exchange cubes from your Erlenmeyer flask with cubes from the supply. Reverse transformations are not allowed. If you have the Marie Curie tile, you can additionally make another transformation. 2 radium cubes for 1 victory point. Validate experiment tiles. Several effects in the game indicated by this icon will allow you to collect experiment tiles, maximum 3 of each type. Take the first tile from the pile of your choice. Starting from the top, place it face up on your personal board on the first available slot corresponding to its type. If you choose this action, you can validate one or more of your experiment tiles by performing the required transformation. Flip the tile to indicate that it has been successfully completed. The completed beaker experiment tile increases the number of cubes you can take during the research phase by 1. The completed round bottom flask experiment tile increases the number of cubes you can keep in your Erlenmeyer at the end of your turn by 1. This is limited to 3 cubes in the beginning of the game. For each pair of face-to-face validated beaker and round bottom flask tiles, earn 1 victory point. Validate your objective tile. You can validate the objective tile you received at the beginning of the game if you have met the condition. Flip the tile and earn the indicated victory points. Rest. At the end of your turn, you check the number of cubes in your Erlenmeyer flask. If their number exceeds your storage capacity, return the excess cubes of your choice to the supply. You also move the workshop marker to the next space. If the marker reaches the last space, immediately flip the tile to its opposite side and place the marker on the starting space at the bottom left. End of the game. The game ends when the timeline marker reaches the last space of the timeline. Complete the current round until the last player in the turn order. Players count their victory points, and the player with the most points wins the game.